Do you know that moment when your mind decides it's the perfect time to host an impromptu everything could possibly go wrong festival? The one where your thoughts are doing the anxiety equivalent of parkour, like bouncing from I might have said something awkward 3 years ago, to what if my cat secretly hates me, to I'm definitely going to bomb this presentation tomorrow. Yeah, those moments. Hey there, this is Alex from the Humane Sapiens, and in this episode we will talk about 7 tricks to calm your anxious brain. So for those moments when your mind decides to throw these anxiety parties, the good news is that mindfulness can be like having a gentle bouncer for these occasions. Like not aggressively kicking thoughts out, but kindly showing them to a quieter corner while you regain some peace. So these 7 mindfulness tricks don't require fancy meditation retreats, having the flexibility of a yoga influencer, or the ability to maintain a completely empty mind while your neighbor decides 6 a.m. is the perfect time to practice their drum solo. Before we continue, are you subscribed to the Humane Sapiens already? If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Substack, YouTube, or Spotify, for example, you can just go to www.thehumanesapiens.substack.com and sign up for my newsletter. And here are the exercises for you. The first one is the 5-to-1 sensory reset. This exercise is like a sensory scavenger hunt, and it's perfect when anxiety hijacks your brain and holds your rational thoughts hostage. And it's very simple. All it takes is notice 5 things you can see, notice 4 things you can feel, notice 3 things you can hear, then notice 2 things you can smell, and then notice 1 thing you can taste. This works well because your brain can't simultaneously catalog sensory information and continue its anxiety talent show. It's like trying to watch 2 Netflix shows at once. Eventually, one gets your attention. The second exercise is very simple too. It's renaming your brain's drama department. You know, your mind has an entire department dedicated to creating anxiety-inducing stories. It's like having an internal streaming service company that only produces catastrophic documentaries about your life. So just try this. When you notice anxious thoughts spiraling, mentally step back and think, there goes my brain's drama department again, pitching new disaster scenarios. This simple act of noting creates space between you and your thoughts, and with that, you're not dismissing them. You're just recognizing them as stories rather than absolute truths. Bonus points if you give this department a silly name. Mine is Nervous Nelly News Network, breaking updates on things that probably won't happen. The third exercise is what I call the 3-breath vacation. Because the truth is that you don't need a 2-week holiday to give your mind a break. Most of the times, taking 3 breaths does the perfect job. So yeah, with the first breath, notice how you feel right now, even if you feel like a hamster on espresso. With the second breath, let your shoulders drop away from your ears. This doesn't apply to boxers who are sparring while listening to this, but that's highly unlikely anyway. With the third breath, set a tiny intention for the next few minutes. Like, I'll focus just on this task, or even I'll be kinder to my anxious brain. This is like a mini vacation for your nervous system that doesn't require packing, airports, or awkward timeshare presentations. The next exercise is making tea like it's your job. I'm sure you heard of different tea ceremonies from different cultures, and there's a reason why tea is that important. The process itself can be deeply mindful. So next time you're in anxiety's grip, make yourself a cup of tea and treat this as if it's the most important task in the universe. Notice the sound of the water heating, watch the color change as the tea steeps, feel the warmth of the cup against your palms. Smell the tea's aroma before you take a sip, and taste it fully, not in the usual gulp while scrolling manner. And if you don't like tea, coffee works too, but take care because it can increase your stress level. Or you can make a hot chocolate, or even just warm water with lemon. The point is the process, not the beverage. The fifth exercise is definitely for you if, as a kid, you like to lie on the grass and watch clouds drift by. Because this is the adult anxiety management version. For a start, close your eyes. Picture yourself lying on a grassy hill. When anxious thoughts appear, imagine them as clouds. And don't try to push them away. Like, have you ever tried to push away a real cloud? It doesn't work. Just watch them drift across your mental sky. And when everything is sunny again, you will notice that the anxious thought, like, I'm going to fail this project, became just another puffy cloud formation passing through, and it's not a permanent feature of your mental landscape. The next exercise is turning household tasks into mental vacations. It's very similar to making tea, but tea is not a household task. It's for your own pleasure. So, instead of letting your mind spiral while doing chores, turn them into mindfulness practice. When washing dishes, feel the temperature of the water. When you fold laundry, notice the textures. When cleaning, focus on the before and after satisfaction. Your anxiety-prone brain loves to multitask. And washing dishes while simultaneously rehearsing worst-case scenarios and planning tomorrow and replaying embarrassing moments from last year. So sometimes give it the gift of doing just one thing. And for the last exercise, it's connected to stoplights, and you can do this on your way to work or school or anywhere, It's basically using stoplights as mindfulness bells. Unless you're reading this from a cabin in the woods, you probably encounter stoplights regularly. And instead of using red lights as an opportunity to check your phone or mentally rehearse arguments with people who wronged you in high school, use them as 30-second mindfulness moments. When the light is red, pause and take 3 deep breaths. When it's yellow, notice any tension in your body. And when it's green, you can just go on your way with renewed presence. And even if you only catch yourself doing this practice occasionally, it's still a win. Mindfulness isn't about perfection. It's about remembering to come back to the present moment again and again. And just as a note of what mindfulness is and isn't, and how it helps with anxiety, here's something that glowing wellness Instagram posts won't tell you. Mindfulness isn't really about eliminating anxiety from your life. It's about changing your relationship with it. It's learning to say, "Oh, hello anxiety, you're here again. I see you, but you don't get to drive the car today. And you know what? We don't even own a car. Where did you get that entire vehicle?" The practices we talked about in this episode won't make anxiety disappear forever. If someone promises you that, check if they are also trying to sell you magic jelly beans. But what they can definitely do is help make anxiety a visitor rather than a permanent roommate who keeps rearranging your mental furniture. And with that said, I would love to know which of these practices resonate with you, or if you have your own quirky mindfulness trick for anxiety. So just reply to this or drop a comment, anything. And if you found this helpful, forward it to a friend whose brain also enjoys throwing occasional anxiety parties. We are all in this together, one mindful breath at a time. Stay mindful and humane. Thank you for listening. This was Alex from the Humane Sapiens. Take care. Bye-bye.